Zenyatta is back into the meta, and he's become one of the best options in certain team comps. These comps aren't goats or double shield. I know, right? Crazy. But before we get into the video, I'ma just ask you guys, if you enjoy the video or learn something new, why not leave a like and subscribe? It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps my content get viewed by more people. Zenyatta is one of my most favourite heroes, and is the original support that I played back in Season 5-ish when I started to play Overwatch competitively, and as such, he has a special place in my heart. But anyway, Zenyatta is one of the most simplistic heroes in Overwatch, yet one of the hardest, and as such, most of this guide will be based around his playstyle and tips, compared to just talking about damage numbers and abilities. But anyway, let's get right into his kit. Zenyatta has 50 base HP and 150 rechargeable shields, for a total of 200 health, which is the standard for supports and other squishy characters. Fun fact, a long time ago Zen actually only had 100 shields, for a total of 150 health, making him even squishier than he is now. Zenyatta's primary fire is a simple point and click projectile that does 48 damage, moves really fast, and can be shot at 2.5 rounds per second. It has 20 ammo and takes 1.5 seconds to reload. Also note that Zenyatta's Discord orb will boost damage, and we'll get into depth on this later. Zenyatta's secondary fire allows them to charge up to 5 shots and release a rapid volley off his primary fire's orbs. These orbs will be charged at a rate of 1 every 0.52 seconds, with a 0.6 recovery time after the volley. Zenyatta's first ability is the Orb of Harmony. Zenyatta can toggle this ability on a teammate, and the orb will fly to their teammate and attach to them, healing them for 30 health per second. This orb will last indefinitely, or until Zenyatta toggles it onto another teammate, or the original recipient moves out of line of sight for 3 seconds. Zenyatta's second ability is Orb of Discord, and this is basically the opposite of Harmony Orb. It is also another toggleable ability, except this one is toggled onto the enemy. Once the orb has attached to the enemy, the person will receive 30% more damage from every source. This damage increase will make Zenyatta's orbs deal 60 damage instead of 48. This orb will also last indefinitely, or until line of sight is broken or it has been attached to a different enemy. Also, something that you should remember is that you can see the health bar of each player that your orb is attached to at the bottom of your screen, so you can use this to gather more information about the health. Finally, Zenyatta's ultimate is Transcendence. When activated, Zenyatta will become invulnerable and gave movement speed increase to around 200%. He will also heal all nearby allies for 300 health per second, keeping everyone alive through most circumstances. However, it can be countered by Anti-Nade and incredible Focus Fire, but still stands as the strongest defensive ult in the game. That's about it for everything within Zenyatta's kit, so let's talk about how you need to play him and use his abilities to get the most out of Zen. First, we need to address that Zenyatta is the squishiest character in the game. Sure, he doesn't have the smallest health bar, but he is the easiest character to kill. The reason he is so easy to kill is for 3 reasons. First off, he has no immediate health regeneration. The only way for him to regen his health is to be undamaged for 3 seconds, giving him no option to heal mid-fight. Secondarily, he has no ability to peel for himself, or mobility option, leaving you at the mercy of your enemies. And finally, his hitbox is huge. Like seriously, why do his legs have to stick out so much? It makes him a very easy target to hit with spread weapons, which, surprise surprise, are most frequent on the enemies that give Zenyatta the hardest time. Okay, so if he's so vulnerable, why is he such a good option? Well, just like every character can win a 1v1 with Zen, Zen can win a 1v1 against almost anyone, making it a match of skill most of the time, where the better player will win. No one is safe from Zenyatta. He can 2-shot squishies, and Discord is a tank crusher. Also, remember that Zenyatta can literally one-shot anyone in his game with his secondary fire. So, he makes up for his own squishiness by being an extreme threat to everyone. Let's talk about deciding when to use primary fire over secondary fire, as I believe that this is an element of Zenyatta that often gets forgotten, is never spoken about. Let's remember that his primary fire has the higher DPS, but his secondary fire has higher burst damage, and as such, which one we should use will depend on what we are trying to achieve. Before fights start and both teams are setting up for the upcoming fight, you as Zen should always be looking to get a pick with your secondary fire. You should charge it up around a corner and peek out, releasing the volley. A little tip that you can use is to put Discord Orb onto an enemy and then use it as a wall hack to easily target them as you poke out. This works as charging up a full volley takes around 2.5 seconds, while Discord will last 3 seconds. Once the fight starts, you should swap to primary fire to ensure that you're getting the most optimal DPS, but don't be afraid to go for some sneaky one bursts onto unsuspecting targets. Now that we've talked about when to use primary fire over secondary fire, let's talk about deciding who to orb. First, let's discuss the Orb of Harmony. In general, you should pass it around and share the love, but you'll find in most fights you are too concerned about your own life to try to share the love, and in most of these cases the main tank is by far your best choice. Main tanks take the most damage by far, and as such, giving the orb will ensure they get a lot of health back over a fight. Something to remember is that the Orb of Harmony will still heal a target for 3 seconds after they brand Lack of Sight. So, you can just throw it onto flanking teammates, effectively giving them 90 health over 3 seconds. And this seems like a small amount, but to most squishies and flankers, this is a huge amount and can easily turn fights. Talking about turning fights, let's discuss how to use Zenyatta's ultimate. A major issue I see way too often is Zenyatta's not ulting when they should. They hold onto it only to counter an enemy ultimate. And while this is a great use of it, if you can win the fight now by ulting, it is often better to take the W for that fight and then give them an ult advantage in the next. But an even worse scenario is when you ult and don't win the fight, and then in the next one you have the ult disadvantage. So just remember, as good as it feels to transcend a Grav Dragon combo, it is just as poke to ult to keep your main tank alive and have your team rush them down, being almost invincible. Now, there is a major aspect of Zenyatta that I haven't talked about yet, and that is positioning. Positioning on Zen is important as aiming, as bad position will just lead to your instant death. As we have discussed, Zenyatta is the squishiest character in the game, and as such, we should position ourselves accordingly. This means that we always want to stay close to combat, but staying directly out of the fight. While this sounds easy, it is really hard to stay out of conflicts, especially when you are target number 1 for many people, and their primary goal is to find you and remove you from the game. A general rule of thumb is to always be near a health pack, which you can retreat to and heal, and always be at a corner to provide cover and allow you to charge up a volley of orbs to defend yourself. Let's talk about matchups of Zenyatta and how they generally go. One of the most common and skill-based matchups is a Zenyatta versus a Tracer. Tracer can easily navigate through the map to path towards you, and you should be constantly rotating to avoid their advances while simultaneously contributing to the front fight. When she does finally close the gap, you should hopefully position yourself with corners and health packs nearby and can fight the Tracer. If a Tracer is discorded, all it will take to kill her is a headshot and a melee. And all it will take for her to kill you is one good clip onto your fat hitbox. No one is more likely to win, but Tracer does decide when they fight, but Zenyatta decides where they fight, so each player can use this to tip the odds in their favour. Another major threat to Zenyatta is Sombra. He is always at risk of a 1v1 commencing, and is impossible to avoid due to Sombra's stealth, so you will always need to be aware of her. Her hack is pretty useless on you, but her gun can melt you. In general, this 1v1 can be harder than Tracer, as Sombra has significantly more range than Tracer, allowing her to play safer. Also, she requires 2 headshots or 4 body shots to kill. But the main counterplay between each other comes from the ultimates. Sombra's EMP will remove Zenyatta's shield, leaving him on 50 health, ensuring near instantaneous death. However, Zenyatta can transcend while EMP is in its cast time to become invulnerable and protect his team. Significant mind games take place where both players have ult. Sombra will try and bait out Zen's ult, and Zen will try and counter it, and again, it's just a matter of skill. The threats that you have the least chance to win against are dive tanks. This is because the second that they see you, they will jump you. They are extremely punishing towards you, and require you to play further away from your team, but not too far that flankers will get the drop on you. Good spots to sit around are usually actually doorways and inside buildings. It is very difficult to impossible for a Winston to dive you if you are inside, as the doorway acts as a sort of barrier, keeping you safe, but Hammond and D.Va can still chase you, so be aware. Let's talk about support synergy. When playing Zenyatta, the best option for the other healer is actually Mercy. Together they provide major damage threat, and the Mercy has the mobility to peel for Zen and keep DPS players alive. This is actually what we're seeing a lot of in the Overwatch League playoffs right now, and they are often with dive or hog comps, which require less healing. For OK matchups, we have Ana and Baptiste. These are good supports for the Death Ball or more shield break comps, as they bring more heals that Zenyatta lacks. For bad matchups, we have Moira, Lucio, and Brig. With Moira, she wants to be right in the heat of the battle, and Zenyatta wants to be in the opposite, so we have some anti-synergy going on. And then with Brig and Lucio, I do know that these combos were once meta at the pro level, and while even when it was strong, only the pros could pull off having such little healing, and for almost the entire player base, having a combo of these healers means you aren't going to get enough healing. Anyway guys, that's about all I thought I wanted to share about learning how to play Zenyatta. I wish all of you luck in your games, whether they be quick play for fun, competitive, or tournament play. If you guys enjoyed the video, or learned something new, why not leave a like, and to see more and consistently uploaded content, why not leave a sub? But, till next, see you then.
My phone lights up, but it's never you. I can't help but feel so